Today, I will explain the book Tiny Habits: Why Starting Small Makes Lasting Change Easy. This book primarily discusses how to truly achieve change by understanding the essence of human behavior. Before we get started, please click on the subscribe button below to stay updated and support Daily Book Dive. We have all felt this way. Whenever we want to improve ourselves, but find that we always fail to meet our expectations and feel powerless to change the status quo, we fall into a cycle of intense self-blame and anxiety. For instance, thinking, I want to lose weight, I always stay up late, or I have not learned a language, etc. And after 3 to 5 years, it's still the same self with the same desires. Between what we want to do and what we actually do, there always seems to be an insurmountable chasm. Many believe this chasm is due to a lack of motivation or weak willpower. However, the author, Fogg, does not see it this way. He believes that if we cannot change, the issue should not be attributed to ourselves, but to the incorrect methods we employ. In other words, whether change can be achieved is a matter of behavior design, not a question of personal capability or character flaws. So, is Fogg just making excuses for our inability to change? Actually, no. Fogg has studied human behavior for over 20 years. The discipline of behavior design, which he founded, is a testament to his pioneering work, and he is a behavioral scientist at Stanford University. To date, Fogg's research has helped over 120,000 people achieve what seemed like impossible changes. In the business world, Fogg is affectionately known as the Silicon Valley Billionaire Maker because he has guided students to create a series of world-renowned internet products, such as the popular social apps Instagram and Clubhouse in the US. Essentially, the underlying logic of internet product design and user research cannot be separated from the behavioral model proposed by Fogg. What is so special about this behavior model? Fogg's significant accomplishment is simplifying the essence of human behavior into a universal model. This model consists of just 3 elements: motivation, ability, and prompts. Fogg believes that behavior occurs when these 3 elements are present simultaneously. You might find it odd, like I do. Everyone has different behaviors they want to change, influenced by various reasons, and everyone's personality and upbringing are different. Human behavior is too complex. How could it be explained by such a simple model? Indeed, this question also troubled Fogg for a long time. After years of research, Fogg finally identified the commonality behind the complex behaviors of humans. In this book, he shares his model and methods of behavior design for the first time, hoping to help us establish a comprehensive system to truly understand how human behavior operates. Next, I will explain the book in 2 parts. The first part discusses what the Fogg Behavior Model is and why Fogg believes all human behaviors can be dissected into the elements of motivation, ability, and prompts. In the second part, based on an understanding of these elements, we will discuss how to design our behaviors and develop good habits. Fogg has developed a clear set of steps for behavior design, which will guide us to make changes step by step. First part. All right, let's first discuss what the Fogg Behavior Model is. As mentioned earlier, the Fogg Behavior Model states that all human behaviors can be decomposed into 3 elements: motivation, ability, and prompts, represented by the simple formula B equals MAP. B stands for behavior, and M, A, P represent the first letters of motivation, ability, and prompts, respectively. Fogg believes that if we are unable to perform a behavior, it is definitely because these 3 elements have not occurred simultaneously. However, if we take a closer look at the B equals MAP formula, we'll notice something odd. It lacks the willpower element often mentioned by people. From practical experience, willpower is clearly very important for persisting in a behavior. People with strong willpower seem to succeed in everything, and many times when we fail, it's because we lack willpower and discipline. Although this is what we say, Fogg scientific research has found that whether a behavior change can be achieved does not really depend on whether you have willpower. It actually depends on whether you can gather motivation, ability, and prompts at the same time. Note, simultaneously is crucial. So, why do we need to gather these three elements simultaneously? For instance, what if I have a very strong motivation? Can't I just do something I really want to do? Or what if my motivation is average, but my ability is strong, making the task very simple for me? Can I just do it? To understand this issue, we need to further examine the roles and shortcomings of motivation, ability, and prompts. Starting with motivation, which is essentially the desire of people to do something. Fogg believes that motivation is important. Anyone trying to change others can only help them do what they want to do themselves, which is a key principle in the Fogg Behavior Model. It's like you can never wake someone who is pretending to be asleep. If we observe many successful products and services on the market, they share the trait of going with the flow, fulfilling people's desires and needs. Strong motivation is suitable for those things that can be done in one go, like rushing to the airport or saving someone in an emergency. But unfortunately, for long-term behaviors that help us improve, such as exercising, quitting smoking, or reading regularly, motivation plays a very limited role, and its biggest flaw is that it's utterly unreliable. In plain terms, as soon as something happens, motivation tends to break down. Fogg once encountered a student with a very strong motivation named Junie. Junie was a very busy show host. Junie loved sweets, especially ice cream and cake. She felt that the fast-paced work required her to replenish sugar to keep her spirits up. Although Junie knew that excessive sugar intake was not good for her body, she didn't take it very seriously. It wasn't until 2015 that Junie realized the severity of the situation. Her mother died of diabetes, and soon after, her two sisters were also diagnosed with diabetes. Junie suddenly realized that her love for sweets was almost out of control. According to our normal logic, Junie, with her strong motivation, should be able to quit her bad habit of eating sweets. In fact, this is how things initially progressed. Junie was obsessed with quitting sweets quickly and tried several abstinence methods, but these only worked in the short term. Soon after, she felt terrible and began to give up on herself. Eventually, Junie started binging on sweets again, letting her weight increase uncontrollably, and she even stopped caring whether she would get diabetes. This is the flaw of motivation. A medical survey showed that if cardiologists tell patients with severe heart disease that they will undoubtedly die if they do not change their lifestyle, only 1/7 of the patients will actually change their lifestyle. What about the other June 7th? Do they not want to live? Of course, that's not the case. They have a strong motivation and know what to do, but they just can't change. Because relying solely on motivation is not enough to support behavior change, this is just human nature. On one hand, motivation fluctuates very frequently. Perhaps something stimulates you today, and your motivation reaches its peak, but in a few days, it will plummet. On the other hand, motivation is very complex. Sometimes you can't even figure out your true motivation for wanting to do something, whether it's because you'll get a reward or because you're influenced by others in a certain environment. In summary, the biggest flaw of motivation is its unreliability. Okay, if motivation doesn't work, what about relying on ability? This is the second element in the Fogg Behavior Model. Ability is certainly necessary for any behavior. But regarding the element of ability, Fogg reminds us that there is one thing to be particularly aware of. People generally like to overestimate their abilities. They always feel that if they do something, they either do it best or not at all. In fact, this concept is very detrimental to us truly making a change. Fogg asked us a question in the book. Do you think doing a 7-minute workout every day is difficult? Most people would think it's not difficult, and indeed, it's within their abilities. So why can't they do it? Fogg has found through his many years of research and experience that, in fact, there are 5 factors that make up an ability chain, and whether you can do something depends on the weakest link in this chain. This is where the difficulty lies. The factors are time, money, physical strength, mental effort, and schedule. We can use this ability chain to break down the 7-minute workout. First, time. Everyone definitely has 7 minutes, which is much easier than spending 30 minutes exercising each day. Second, money, which is basically zero, because this activity can be done at home without going to a gym or spending money. Next, mental effort. The exercise movements are not complex, and you probably just repeat a few movements. Then, schedule. Doing a 7-minute workout should not require you to adjust your entire daily schedule. That leaves physical strength, which might be the weak link. For many people, 7 minutes of exercise is not much. But many apps will have you quickly increase the intensity during training, and the difficulty increases suddenly, making you feel out of breath after 7 minutes. And each minute of high-intensity exercise feels particularly long and lacks enjoyment. So just this one factor of physical strength might prevent you from developing the habit of doing a 7-minute workout every day. Okay, we just finished talking about motivation and ability. Obviously, these are not enough. So we're missing the last element, prompts. What are prompts good for? In fact, we encounter hundreds of prompts every day, but we rarely notice their existence and their direct connection to behavior. For example, when the traffic light turns green, you step on the gas. Someone in the supermarket offers you a piece of cake to taste, and you take it. An email notification pops up on your computer, and you click to open it. These are all prompts. Prompts are telling us, do it now. How important are prompts for a behavior to occur? Someone conducted an experiment that if you want a person to develop the habit of drinking more water, the best way is to place half a glass of water on their desk. Moreover, placing it on the left side works better than on the right side, allowing the person to drink about 4 more glasses of water per day. You see, everyone has the motivation to drink more water, and of course, they have the ability to drink. So if they still don't drink water, what's missing is the prompt. Prompts are the decisive factor for a behavior to occur. You have both motivation and ability. But if there is no prompt, you might forget about the activity, and naturally, the behavior won't happen. However, Fogg emphasizes that the biggest difference between prompts and the first 2 elements is that motivation and ability are ongoing, although they vary in strength. But at least they are always present, while prompts are not. What does this mean? It means that when a prompt appears, you either notice it or ignore it. If you don't notice the prompt, or if the prompt does not appear at the right time, then the behavior won't occur. Therefore, designing a right prompt is crucial. Making it appear at the right time and catching your attention, then you will act immediately. So far, we have thoroughly understood the 3 elements of the Fogg Behavior Model, and when motivation, ability, and prompts are gathered together, behavior naturally occurs. However, we still have one question unanswered, which is why Fogg says that all human behaviors can be dissected into motivation, ability, and prompts. Because, in Fogg's view, understanding behavior can influence behavior. Once we master this universal model, the next step is to try observing human behavior mechanisms and consider where to start taking measures. We can further analyze this through a case study in the book. Fogg met a student in a training camp named Katie, who was a very capable executive with high work efficiency. Every day before leaving work, she would tidy up her desk, organizing sticky notes into 3 categories: to do, completed, and in progress. The next day, when Katie sees a neat desk, she feels good and is full of energy. But Katie also has a bad habit that needs to be addressed, which is using her phone in bed. She hates this habit, but she just can't stop. At the beginning of the year, Katie decided to exercise every day, so she set an alarm for 4:30 a.m. Sometimes she really went to exercise, but most of the time she didn't go. This was not because she gave up on exercising, but because although she got up very early, she often spent a long time on her phone and then realized it was too late and hurriedly started her day's work. Every time Katie didn't go to exercise, she would blame herself, but the same situation occurred the next day. Katie didn't understand why, as a relatively disciplined person, she couldn't break her habit of using her phone. You see, tidying up the desk and using the phone, one is a good habit and the other is a bad habit. Although these two behaviors bring completely different feelings to Katie, their elements are actually the same. First, let's talk about the behavior of tidying up the desk. Katie's motivation is at a medium level, and her ability leans towards easy to do, because it can be done in 3 minutes and won't delay picking up her children from school. If she initially chose to clean the entire office, she might not continue if she ran out of time. As for the last element, prompts are also present, because shutting down the computer signifies the end of work and it's time to tidy up. But how can she quit her bad habit of using her phone? Lowering motivation? Obviously not very likely, because every morning when she sees people liking and commenting on her social media, she is quite happy, so her motivation remains high. As for ability, she can only increase the difficulty of using her phone in bed. Katie tried placing her phone in a cabinet in the next room, but if the alarm goes off in the morning, she would still get out of bed to retrieve her phone, and the alarm is clearly a prompt. So, under Fogg's suggestion, Katie started placing her phone in the kitchen at night, effectively increasing the physical distance between her and the phone, making the behavior of using the phone more difficult. Then, Katie placed an old-fashioned alarm clock in her bedroom, effectively eliminating the prompt to use her phone. After implementing this method for a few days, Katie began to exercise according to her original plan. Katie said, "Although these are small things, they can make you realize that all aspects of life can be improved through behavior design." Try observing the world using the Fogg Behavior Model, and you'll discover that what truly changes behavior is not the level of a person's willpower or the quality of their character, but whether there is a scientific method. Second part. Okay, let's talk about the method. How do we use behavior design to help ourselves develop good habits? In the past, we said that to develop a good habit, the method was simple, just repetition. If you do something enough times, it naturally becomes a habit. So some people advocate using 7 days or 21 days to repeat a behavior and develop a habit. But Fogg does not agree with this view. He has found that the key to creating habits is not deliberate repetition, but maintaining a positive emotional state. What does this mean? For example, developing many good habits seems difficult, like having to fight a tough battle with oneself. But you'll find that changes like getting used to reading newspapers to now using a smartphone, or waiting for a bus on the street to now using a taxi app every day, these changes are easy and effortless. Both are behavior changes, so why are these habits so easy to develop? The key lies in positive emotions, instantly stimulating the brain to produce dopamine, which helps us remember those behaviors that produce good feelings. The brain then links that behavior with positive emotions, creating expectations for the future. So, in Fogg's view, the essence of behavior design is emotional design. Only by rooting a positive emotion into a new behavior can it become a good habit. But are positive emotions really that important? What if I am a person with strong endurance, who can endure more hardship and persist longer? To address our concerns and to explain this issue more thoroughly, Fogg introduces the term decision-making in the book to contrast with tiny habits. Decisions are usually our carefully considered choices, so they are not completely automated. You use your brain's rational system for analysis. But note, habits are different, referring to behaviors you perform without thinking, which are automatic. Today, I feel happy doing this behavior, so next time I will still want to do it, and over time, it can subconsciously become a habit. So, Around the fundamental, positive emotions create habits, Fogg has devoted a large portion of the book to presenting a clear set of behavior design steps, totaling 7 steps, very detailed. For ease of memory, I have summarized them into 3 major steps, corresponding to the 3 elements. I recommend that if possible, you open the document and highlight the key points while listening. Alright, let's get started. First, corresponding to the motivation element, our first step is to sift through a bunch of things we want to do. Find the one that makes us feel the best, and decide to choose it, fixing this behavior as my habit. Motivations are very abstract, like everyone hopes they can be healthier, achieve more sense of accomplishment from work, be more patient with children, etc. Having the desire to change is a good starting point, but it is not a specific behavior. Next, what we need to do is to first diverge, then converge. Divergence means finding all the specific behaviors we can think of under this big desire, and then convergence is selecting the most matching behavior from these, the golden behavior. For example, Fogg often feels a lot of stress and can't sleep well, and his desire is to improve sleep quality. Around this desire, Fogg wrote out 25 specific behaviors related to improving sleep on cards in 5 minutes. For instance, setting the phone to airplane mode after 7 p.m., or installing blackout curtains, or doing a 15-minute stretching exercise before bed, or using white noise as background sound when sleeping at night. These specific behaviors can all help Fogg improve his sleep quality. Then comes the selection. How do you choose? Ask yourself 2 questions. First, does this behavior have a big impact on improving sleep? Second, can I really do this behavior? These 2 questions act like a 2-dimensional net, helping you find the behavior that is truly effective for you. Even in the busiest, least motivated, and worst situations, you can still do it. And this behavior is the golden behavior. Okay, after completing the first step, let's talk about the second step, corresponding to the ability element. As we mentioned earlier, whether you can do something depends on the weakest link among the factors of time, money, physical strength, mental effort, and schedule, because ability seems stable but is actually very fragile. So, the most useful trick for dealing with the ability element is simplicity. Fogg says, simplicity is the most important thing he teaches his students. Simplicity can completely change behavior. Fogg has worked in the business field for many years, observing what patterns work and what do not. Over time, he found that successful products all share a common pattern, which is simplicity. The product strategies of Apple and Google are like this, and the photo-sharing app Instagram he guided his students to create is also like this. The reason Instagram was able to stand out among many similar products is because of its simple functionality and design. Users only need to click 3 times to upload and share photos. Business logic needs to grasp human nature, and the same is true for forming good habits. The difficult tasks of the world must be done easily, and the big tasks of the world must be done in detail. If a behavior is simple enough, easy enough, you can start with this behavior and step-by-step accomplish almost anything. So the second step in behavior design is to break down the golden behavior we selected earlier into a trivial habit, starting from it. Make the thing you can do into something you can do effortlessly. For example, design a simple entry step or reduce the scale of this behavior. For instance, if you want to develop the habit of brisk walking 1 kilometer every day, the entry step is to put on sports shoes. The key point here is that you don't have to rush to perform a bigger behavior or raise the standard. If you don't feel like walking, just putting on sports shoes is okay. And who can say for sure what you'll want to do after putting them on? You would never guess that Fogg once used this method to help a friend develop the habit of making breakfast every day. The entry step Fogg proposed was also very simple. Have her turn on the gas stove every day, let it burn for a few minutes, and then turn it off. Fogg reminds us, never underestimate any small action, because it will become the first fulcrum that can leverage the earth. Okay, we have now finished discussing the first two steps, how to choose the golden behavior and how to start from a trivial habit. Next, the third step, corresponding to the prompts element, the method of behavior design is to find the right prompt and then really do it. Earlier, we mentioned that designing a right prompt is especially important because if the timing of the prompt is off, or it doesn't catch your attention, the behavior won't happen. You've probably also realized that many information prompts around us are ineffective, such as the little red dots all over the phone screen, which were designed to be effective prompts to make you open that app, but the actual effect is mostly non-existent. If you are also the kind of person who needs to press the snooze button 3 or 4 times before getting up, you can definitely feel that the phone alarm prompt doesn't work very well. So, how exactly do you design the right prompt? The method Fogg recommends is to find an established action in your daily life, such as brushing your teeth, parking, flushing the toilet, putting on shoes, turning off the TV, etc., and then have the small habit you want to develop follow these established actions. Why is this? In Fogg's view, the established actions in our daily life are a natural set of prompt libraries. We already have many behaviors in our original life that we do without thinking. If a new behavior can follow these established actions, it will become completely effortless. For example, a student discovered that the best prompt for developing the habit of drinking more water was after she finished watering her plants every day, because she considered both actions as replenishing water, and watering the plants reminded her that she should also drink more water. Similarly, Fogg in his own life would place the new habit of using dental floss to clean his teeth right after he put down his toothbrush, because this action was essentially a prompt that it was time to use dental floss. If the process is connected smoothly enough, it can eventually form a conditioned reflex, and this is considered a successful encoding of the microhabit. But at this step, it's actually not over yet. After the microhabit occurs, Fogg also emphasizes repeatedly that you must celebrate. Do you remember what we said earlier? The essence of behavior design is emotional design? Even if what we do seems trivial and seems hardly worth celebrating, celebrating is still the most important skill to help us develop a habit. Fogg mentioned in the book that if he had the opportunity to accompany you in practice, he would teach you to celebrate first, and then teach you how to apply this behavioral model. Because a simple celebration is the most direct way to let you feel positive emotions, making you feel better. The form of celebration can be various, such as making a simple victory gesture or quietly saying to yourself, "Well done," etc. The key point here is that the celebration should either be during the process of the microhabit or at the moment when you finish the behavior. Note, if you do 3 push-ups in the morning and reward yourself with a movie in the evening, this kind of celebration is completely useless, because dopamine in the brain cannot form a causal connection between the two. So, the correct approach is, after you finish 3 push-ups, immediately say to yourself, "Well done." You might feel that doing 3 push-ups is not worth mentioning, or that it seems a bit silly, but don't forget, the brain can help you develop a good habit through a causal relationship, making you feel that you are already different now. In Fogg's view, allowing you to achieve change by feeling better rather than worse is the essence of microhabits. In conclusion, that's all for today's Fogg Behavior Model. To summarize, the Fogg Behavior Model states that when motivation, ability, and prompts occur simultaneously, behavior occurs. By applying this model, we can understand the mechanism of human behavior, thereby better observing the world. At the method level, around the core of positive emotions create habits in behavior design. If we want to truly achieve change, the first thing we need to do is choose a golden behavior. Then start from a trivial habit, find the right prompt, and finally celebrate immediately, making ourselves feel better. If you find these steps still a bit complex and hard to remember, I suggest you grasp these 3 basic principles. First, do what you already want to do. Second, believe that simplicity can change behavior. Third, find ways to continuously feel successful. Okay, The book, Tiny Habits, is not only suitable for personal life, but also applicable to workplace work or corporate organizational management. Personally, after reading this book, I was greatly inspired. For me, this book is more like an operation manual accumulated by a wise man over many years. From the model of each screw nut to the operating mechanism of the entire system, Fogg records everything in it, so that we can really do something through this book to make ourselves better. Finally, desires will not change reality, only actions will. So from today, let's start taking action. The original book link is attached at the end for further reading. You can also click the share button below the video to share this book with your friends. Congratulations, you've just finished another book.